It's 2019 and I'm on the road. Today was to be a different day altogether. After the mayhem of yesterday and a huge clean-up last night, I was looking forward to a more comfortable day behind the wheel today. If you've been following the series, thank you so much. And have you subscribed? That would help me greatly. If you haven't been following the series, all I can ask is, why not? We've all been having a ton of fun, and we have. We've missed you. Hope you enjoy this episode. It's Saturday the 13th of July, and by all accounts, yesterday should have been the 13th. Yesterday was an unmitigated disaster. Officially, it was a disaster. Due to my own stupidity and a couple of mistakes that I made, a couple of decisions I made that were, in the long run, not good decisions. So the only thing we can say is we can cross that part of this amount of way off our bucket list. It can also be safe to say I won't be doing it again. As much as I enjoyed the mountain scenery at the other end of the Northern Territory section, it'd be nice to go in and then go back down from west to east and see what we really should have seen. But first things first, yeah, we got going and the road was perfect. As perfect as a dirt bitumen combination can be, right up to the border. Northern Territory border, we let the tyres down. I let them down £10, I let them down to 35 on the caravan and something like around about 30, 35 in the car as well, because it was up around £45. So I let them down. The car took a battering, but I can handle that. But the caravan, the first 2 hours we did 50 kilometres. It's sort of like it was. Anyway, we had lunch and everything looked pretty right, apart from the fact that it was scattered around the cabin of the caravan, which is what you'd expect. And in the afternoon I decided, well, let's have a crack at it just a little bit quicker, sit around the 60-65 mark and see if we can't get over the top of some of these bloody corrugations, because they were terrible. And that was a wrong decision. By the time I got into Borroloola, I needed to get there before 5 o'clock. Pardon me. To go to the chemist, except they don't have a chemist. And the clinic had closed half an hour before I got there. So that was that. So it was a bad rush for nothing. So I got a few Ks out of Borroloola and I set up for the night. Opened the door of the caravan, same mess as what had been there. At lunchtime, I understood that. Except that anything that had a lid on it had unscrewed its lid. And there were fluids mixed in everywhere. They had this overpowering smell. It sort of smelled like eucalyptus type of stuff, but anyway, the rubbing cream for taking pain away. Didn't take it away last night. It added it in, and it was in through everything, along with all the other fluids that were in through everything, like the barbecue sauce and all that sort of thing. I opened the fridge and the bottom shelf broke away completely. Turned the fridge on and got that dreaded smell. Yep, we'd done the element in the back of the fridge again. That happened after Lakefield in Queensland. I think you'd learn it was 9 years ago. It was in the back of my mind, but we've had some rough roads since then and it seems to have worked all right. So now we've got a situation where we've got a busted fridge as well. So last night we spent cleaning up the caravan. There was a hell of a mess. And you want to know something? Droopy, who falls off the shelf going along the Great Eastern Highway because the Great Eastern Highway is so rough. through the whole shenanigans yesterday, sat on the shelf and just watched it all happen. Didn't move. And I'm buggered if I know why, but there you go. So this morning it's now 10 to 11. I've been pumping up tyres, reorganising the fridge situation, because it now all has to fit in the freezer and the car fridge. The car fridge has got a double between a freezer and a fridge. So I've got to find a fine balance with all that, which is a bit of a worry. It's 700 odd K to Catherine. Cape Crawford and Roper Bar to the right. Anyway, so I thought, well, at least I could sit down and watch the Eagles. Nah. The controller box that pumps the antenna up, nah. Wasn't interested. Oh, that's a different road to Lemon Bite. Generally starts from Cape Crawford, maybe it still does. It's still 80 to Cape Crawford from here, so it'd be a different way in, yes. 349 to the highway. So no, the power supply, the actual power cable, it's got a stupid connector, and there was no way it was connecting into the box. So last night I sat there doing a couple of videos for YouTube, and we'll see what comes of that. Yeah, so this morning up, breakfast is going to be a problem. I don't trust the milk now. The milk is out of date, and it was warm overnight because the fridge didn't cool down. I gave it a good chance to cool down, and it is definitely dead. So stuff that is imperative that is in a fridge has been transferred into the car fridge, and I've got to figure out a way now as to how I'm going to manage that. Whether I wind up doing a little cold box situation and use frozen blocks or something like that. We'll just have to, we'll work it out. What else went wrong? What went right? Okay, the drive through the mountains yesterday morning, that was the highlight of the day, without a doubt. The river crossings that I'd been concerned about all turned out to be no problem whatsoever. We did get stuck halfway up that hill. That was an interesting little situation that tested my my thinking abilities to get out of that. Yeah, I'm just disappointed that I asked a number of people what the road was like, and they all said, oh yeah, no, it's not bad overall, but there are a few very rough patches. Well, the problem was the few very rough patches was the 260 kilometres from the Northern Territory border to Borroloola. But in that 260 kilometre there were probably half a dozen or so patches of probably 1 or 2 kilometres or whatever where the road was smooth. The rest of it, well, let's be as kind as we can about it. It was shit. And that was it. Okay, that's yesterday. Today is a different day. And at the moment we're coming down towards Caranbirini Conservation Park. Annette and I went through there in 2013. It's got a little lost city in there as well. It's a delightful place. I'm not going in today. I'm not stopping for anything today. I'm keeping going. I've got something knocking somewhere, and I don't know whether it's underneath the car or whether it's a shocker or what it is, but we'll just keep going, and nothing I can do about it at the moment. The midgies, they've created one hell of a problem for me. I've got my left leg, which has been my good leg, has now got an ulcer on it, and it's just festered. So I've spent some time cleaning that up this morning, and I've got a feeling that hopefully if I can keep the thing at bay until I get to Catherine and get into the hospital and get those sorts of things sorted out. So I've got a few things to try and fix up by the time we get to Catherine anyway. We've got a mine site down here that we've had signal from in the past, so hopefully I can catch up on what's been going on in the last couple of days, or yesterday and today anyway. Sounds as though the house is moving on, but they're now talking about 45 days, which takes it out till the end of August. It's getting to be a long, drawn-out process. There's nothing we can do about it. Okay, mind on the job. We're travelling due south at the moment. And a nice hill country through here. That's where you're going to Caranbirini Conservation Reserve. Can't camp in there. This is Caranbirini Nature Reserve, and we've just done the walk to the lookout, which is 300 metres from the bottom, but I think it takes a bit longer than that to get here. Just looking back across towards the rock face, and this is some of the surrounding countryside. And to the east. That's the waterhole down there along the bottom. And amongst all those trees. Jumped into bed last night and thought, where's the sleep machine? And I'm reaching back behind me and I couldn't find the shelf behind the bed, and I reached back further. The whole mattress had moved forward about a foot and everything had fallen down in between. That's never happened before. Right, we've made a couple of phone calls. We've been past the mine site and made a couple of phone calls, and in that time we've come onto the development road. Now it's interesting to note, it obviously is purely a coincidence that beautiful double line, the double road, at least double lane road, finished outside the gates of the mine, and the fact that the mine goes down to Ping Pong near Borroloola to ship their stuff offshore. Purely a coincidence, because from there on it was like this. Just a development road again now. But I prefer this to the straight gravel that's corrugated to the devil, that's for sure. Okay, meanwhile, carrying on. Next stop should be Cape Crawford. Now I forget what time I actually said it was when I got away, when I started this morning. But in actual fact, I'd forgotten to wind the clock back, and it was half an hour earlier than that, because we didn't change the time change yesterday from 2 hours back to 1.5, which is the time difference. A local time. So it's not as late as I thought it was. It's now 11:24. Just give you some shots as I come over the top of some of these hills, some of these little rises. Got him in an inopportune spot. Just before the double lines, or the double road. 290 to the Stuart Hwy. We're 94 or 95 from Borroloola, so we've probably done about 65 or something rather this morning so far. Been talking to the camera and I wasn't turned on. We were just surmising between myself and myself. Just come off a stretch of double lane highway, which was only probably 2 or 3 kilometres long on itself, and it's bounded on either end by single width roads such as this is. Well, this is actually a full width road, but with a single lane of bitumen down the middle. The development road, as they call it. One wonders why there's suddenly a double line highway in the middle of it. And if we were to ask the people who made these decisions at City Hall whether they would have any idea either. Here's a piece of that road that we're talking about now. Is it that they're putting these pieces of road in as overtaking opportunities? Although the last one had 2 single lane bridges in it. So that doesn't sort of make much sense. Putting a double lane highway there, if that's what's going to be used for as an overtaking lane. There we are, back on the single stop again. Well, we're now within spitting distance of Cape Crawford. Be interesting to see what the price of fuel is here. Caution 100 head. They have a different different mindset in the territory. Left is the Barclay Highway. It's about 370k down there, I think. It's the chopper. Okay, once again we didn't have the audio switched on back there. So Cape Crawford, fuel $1.99 for diesel, $2.05 for unleaded. A couple there said it's dearer down at Barclay. Well, it's 30 cents cheaper up at Borroloola, and then 2000 and which of course is no good if you're not going to Borroloola. It's a long way to go for fuel. If that's all you're going for. Waste of time, waste of money. But we were going up there anyway in 2010, and we chose to buy our fuel at Borroloola and bypass Cape Crawford. So we came from Borroloola down via Cape Crawford down to Barclay, and then topped up down there. We had to buy it at Barclay anyway, but the fact was that we could get it cheaper up at this end of the world, so it did end up saving us dollars. And from memory we'd filled up down at the highway, so we got all the way through to Borroloola without having to fill up at Cape Crawford anyway. There was a little free camping area back there on the bridge, but I decided to aim for Joanna's Rest or Joanna's Point or whatever it was called, and I'll have lunch there, I think. We stayed there for a couple of nights, I think it was, from memory. So here's a bit of fun. Here we are with a single piece of bitumen down the middle, and the white line painted down the middle of it. Now, it's very faded, so maybe it's not utilised any longer, but I find that quite funny. Bit of interesting rock formation. I recognise this hill. Now, Goanna Rest is not too far away from here. Interested to see whether we've got it on our own or whether the place is chock-a blocks. That's the old road just running alongside this one. That's the one that was there in 2013. We have it to ourselves. It's time to move on. 1:40. It's lunch, a little bit more video editing. Finishing off the Five River crossing video. Working out how to manage the fridge in the back. Somehow we've got to keep the frozen food frozen, and we've got to keep the cold food cold. And the tablets have got to be kept cool or refrigerated, but not frozen. So, a bit of interest happening there. Otherwise, everything is slowly getting back to normal. Ish. So, Goanna Creek Rest Area. As I said, we stayed there for a couple of nights, 2 or 3 nights, can't remember which, back in 2013. Quite pleasant there. Oh shit. I opened the window, didn't I? And I haven't closed it, have I? Thank goodness we have mirrors that look backwards. We'll try again. So I managed to offload a bag of rubbish. Actually should have dumped the contents of the fridge from last night as well. Oh well, not to worry. It's a lot quieter in here today. Don't have all that noise of everything rattling and shaking and jumping around in the back, and pleasant change. 200 to the Stuart Hwy. Just a little look ahead while we got a little bit of high ground. It's just gone 2:30, 2:32 it is. There's a rest area coming up just up here. Just might pull in and have a quick walk around. I remember this one, yep. It was pretty much chockers when we came in here last time, I think. Okay, so a bit of a walk around, a bit of a check of the caravan, a bit of a check of the wheel bearings. Everything's cool. Caravan is towing really nicely today. Probably saying to me, don't take me on another one of those roads, I'll behave myself. But when I pumped up the tyres this morning, the auxiliary battery was nearly flat again. Yeah, of course it's been running the freezer. I've had the fridge down on the freezer setting. It's been sucking a bit out of it overnight, I guess. But when I put the pump on, it didn't like it. The pump barely turned over, and I thought, oh, I got to put all these tyre pressures up. Anyway, I thought, well, hang on a minute, let's see what the starting battery does, because it ran perfectly off the starting battery. So we did that, but I couldn't reach the back tyre on the caravan on the right hand side. So I wound up putting it back to the other battery and turn the fridge off, and managed to get enough going to actually pump the tyre, but I only pumped it to 45, and I was pumping them all up to 50. I was going to pump them all to 50. Pump the front one on the right hand side up to 50, and then I went to the other side. Well, hang on a tick, why don't I pump all to 45, and then they'll all be square then. So I let that other one down to 45 again, and just started running. Of course the tyre started to increase in temperature anyway, so they'll be running up around about the 49, 50 anyway, and it's running beautifully at the moment. Car, I've put all of those up to 40. They were running just a little higher than that when I dropped them the other day, but then again 40. They'll probably go up to 44 anyway as far as the temperature is concerned with it, as they pick up temperature. And as a result, everything feels nice and balanced. Everybody's getting off to let me run on the bitumen, but I'll try and do the right thing. We've actually done about 190 kilometres today at this point in time. I haven't seen the Stuart Hwy marker for a little while, so I'm not too sure how far away from there we are. 251 and 160 to the highway. Current rate, that's somewhere around about 2.5, 2 3/4 hours. 3, 5, so we're not going to reach the highway tonight. Okay, so there's a few mining vehicles around. There's a mine back there on the right hand side. Busier than a Thursday night on the freeway here. Yep. Okay, this is Buddy or Giddy's rest area coming up on the left hand side. Yeah, Buddy. It's in a bit. From memory, there's a fairly decent sized rest area in there. Still a bit early for me, it's 3:45. It's 90 kilometres to the highway. I reckon we can be almost there by 5 o'clock. And that considerably shortens the distance I need to do tomorrow to get to Catherine, which is about 310 or something or other, 320. An animal on the road. And another one about to join it. A couple of little body calves coming down the pathway behind them. There's something to brighten up the day, to get things happening again. It has been a pretty uneventful drive today. If you enjoyed this video, there are over 400 more just like it on this channel. Subscribe and hit the notification bell and we'll let you know when our next video is available. If you like this video, hit the like button and maybe even leave a comment. If you weren't too impressed, then the dislike button tells us absolutely nothing. So tell us why, so that we can do something about it. Thanks for watching.